This episode was helped brought to you by our newest sponsor, Kalona Brewing Company. They're a brewery out there in Eastern Iowa. So if you're in the area, make sure to stop by Kalona and check out their brewery. Great food at the restaurant there, great beer, obviously. If you're in the Midwest, check out any Hy-Vees. I believe they carry the 6-packs, and they have different types of flavors. So you guys are going to want to, definitely try that out. And I think throughout this whole process, Fishing Kid and myself for Beerfish Fanatics, we're going to be doing some giveaways here and there. If you guys can go ahead and tag us here and there with your Kalona beer. So other than that, enjoy the episode, guys. Record now, and then Kit, you're gonna have to tell me how you did today, Kit. I know you went fishing, right? So you have to let me know.
There's not a lot to tell, really.
That good, huh?
That's bad news.
I know, man. That's not promising for the weekend, brother.
It'll probably be like a 30-second little spiel.
Okay, that's all good. No worries, man. All right, is it recording, everybody?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Beerfish Fanatics. This is Grandy with Mop Pop Fishing. We got
Kit with the Fishing Kit YouTube channel.
And today, by popular demand, we have a gentleman that I think everybody's a little bit familiar with his face, with his voice, but primarily with his knowledge. So today we have Jeff Kopaska with Iowa Dnr joining us again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. I've been looking forward to this. We had a great time the last time, and I expect to have a bunch of fun here tonight.
Can't wait.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And, the funny thing is, like, I seriously, everybody has been asking, a lot of our listeners been asking, they're like, when are you going to get that DNR guy back again? So, and then I told him, though, I know we were trying to get you on a little bit earlier because, but you had the netting and everything. We'll jump into that in a little bit, but you're a busy man. So it's called Beerfish Fanatics. Got to grab a beer. So today I'm going to go straight to our sponsor, Kalona Brewing. I'm doing the double night vision, the Belgian style ale double. I think this is the one that Kit always or has before. So I'm going into this bad boy tonight. What are you doing, Kit?
I got the Such a Much IPA from Kalona Brewing.
There you go.
I've probably had this one like 3 times on the show already.
Nice. And it's green, so we can't even see your screen.
Yeah, it's green. So my green screen's making it all wonky.
What do you got, Jeff? What are you drinking, sir?
All righty. Well, I like to fly the local flag, so I've got an alluvial beer from my home here in Ames, one of my favorite breweries, the O. Henry Batata. That's their autumn ale. So I got the last 4-pack earlier this winter, and I've been saving and savoring them, and this is one of my last ones. It is a sweet potato and toasted marshmallow autumn ale, and it is fantastic.
Sweet potato marshmallow,
toasted marshmallow, like Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah,
that does kind of remind me of fall time. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's not the bad combination thinking about it now. So I'm gonna have to try that. Is it one of those? Is it just a seasonal for them, or was it just a limited release?
Yeah, it's a seasonal. Every October, November, they have it. So,
yep. Right. We're going to have to try. We got to get up to Ames and try some of the breweries up there. I haven't been up there in a while, so we definitely got to get up there to try some of the breweries up there so we can taste some of that good old beer that freaking Jeff gets to taste. So cheers, gentlemen.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I'm not gonna lie though, this double night vision, I think we talked about that before. It's 7.6 alcohol content. I don't know if I can do a lot of these, but it's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
If we talk for 2 hours again tonight, you might be in trouble, Grandy.
That's true. Hey, that's okay. I like you were telling us before. I spent my time with the kids today. I did a little bit of the lawn. I did all the honey-do list today, so I'm pretty good. My wife said, "You know what? You got a couple hours. Go have fun." She said. So go. She said, "Go learn." She goes, "First, ask kid if he caught any fish because the daughters are hungry because I haven't been fishing lately." And then second, she said, "Go learn how to fish from you guys because," she goes, "I don't have that much faith in you this weekend." I go, "Thanks, honey. Love you too."
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she'll definitely say she said that. So no pressure on you to help me get on some fish. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We'll do
Well,
our best.
I guess I'll touch on my little fishing trip I had this afternoon.
Yeah. How'd you do, man?
Caught one white bass, maybe third or fourth cast in, and then that was it.
Really? Was it just, well, the weather wasn't too bad today. Was it too windy where you're at, or?
It wasn't too windy, but there was this gentleman there. He was using minnows, and he probably caught like 5 while I was there. So I guess it was like a live bait bite.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll see this weekend. I know the spot you're thinking of taking me. Hopefully, it'll come up, right?
I'm just hoping this cold weather hasn't, pushed them back a little bit, because it's been cold in the mornings, like mid 30s every morning.
Yep, you're right. So
we've definitely gone back to March type weather this last week, and I'm confident that it's definitely slowed them down and pushed them a little deeper than they were.
Okay.
We'll be
that gives me confidence. That gives me confidence that I somewhat know what I'm talking about.
Hey, we'll be on our kayaks, kids, so we can at least try go a little bit deeper if we can this weekend. But nobody wants to hear us talk about fishing, so let's get to it, because on social media, Facebook, and I see a lot of people have been posting. They saw you guys out there. They saw the Iowa Dnr out there doing your survey, doing the netting, and everything. I know we wanted to get you on here a couple weeks ago, but I know you're super busy. But this is going to be perfect, because I want to know, and Fishing Kit wanted to know. Everybody wants to know, how did it go? What did it entail? Tell us a little bit about it, because honestly, I don't really know too much about it. I just see the pictures that you guys post, and it's just like, holy crap, if that's in that lake, so type of deal. Yep. So how did it go, Jeff?
All right, so let's start with talking about Big Creek. The numbers in terms of walleyes are the best that we've ever had.
Wow.
Okay. So now there's a variety of factors at play. Those fish are feeding on the shad and they're growing, and there's lots of them. Our stocking has been very successful. So we had that warm weather. So the water was probably a little bit warmer than normal. It warmed up really fast because we had like those couple 80-degree windy days. Mm-hmm. And so the water really got warmer faster. So I think that brought more fish up out of the deep water into the shallow and getting ready to spawn than perhaps we might normally experience. But in 5 nights, you're working really hard if we process 200 fish through our trailer where we weigh and measure and everything else. And we were processing upwards of 230, 250, 270 fish a night. In 5 nights, we had well over 1,000 fish from Big Creek, walleyes and a few muskies. And they're in great condition. We had walleyes up to 31 inches, about 13 pounds out of Big Creek. We had a 44-inch, 30-pound muskie. And we've seen 50-inch muskies out of there. Wow. And this year, for the first time, we also were bringing in some of the hybrid striped bass, the wipers. And we just wanted to get a handle on what those fish were looking like in that system. And it looks like maybe right now they're 21, 22 inches, 3, 4, 5 pounds, but they're really healthy fish. I mean, just phenomenal condition. Those things are gonna rip the rod almost out of your hands. You get into a mess of them on Big Creek. So what we saw at Big Creek was really promising. Now we know what Big Creek is like. We know that once those shad spawn come June, those fish get a lot harder to catch. Mm-hmm. But between now and then, it should be really good. This cold weather probably slowed them down a little bit. And that the way Big Creek works is a lot of those fish migrate down toward the deep water, the rocky habitat along the dam and the lower end of the lake this time of year. And then as spring progresses, they stop hanging out there and they gradually move their way back up the lake. So if I was going to go fishing down there now, I'd start at the dam, and when the time comes that I'm not catching them there anymore, I'd work my way up the lake. But yeah, Big Creek's looking fantastic.
That's exciting news, honestly. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to hear that. They're going to be like, "Holy cow!" It's gonna pump up their juices for sure.
Yeah, I think I know where I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah, no, Big Creek is what an awesome destination, so close to so many anglers in Des Moines. So I think absolutely a great place to catch some walleyes, and we caught the wipers in the nets with the walleyes, so they're running around the shallow water in the evenings also. So yep.
So let me ask you, Jeff, this whole netting survey thing. So what are you guys doing with the data? And when you say process a fish, like what do you mean by processing, a walleye or whatever?
Okay, so absolutely, that's a great question, Kit. So we net the fish. We put 6, 8, 10, 11 nets out, depending on wind conditions and how many fish we're seeing and stuff like that. All the fish get brought back to the ramp. We put them in a tank, and then we take the length of that fish. So we measure each fish, we weigh each fish, and then we put tags in each of the fish. So we put it over a receiver, because it's the same type of receiver that we have on the dam where we put the fish barrier. So we can tell when our tagged fish leave the system, which is now not very often. Because of the fish barrier. It's been very effective. It's really helping to improve that fish population. But we see if the fish that has been brought in already has a tag, and if it does, then we have data from the previous times that it was captured, and now we have some idea how well it's growing, both in length and weight through time. And then if it hasn't been tagged yet, then we put a tag in it. And we do that for all of the walleyes and the muskies. So we take those measurements and everything. And then each year we do what we call a fin clip. So that's a mark on the fish. Like this year we cut the white tips off of the walleye tails. And we do that so that we know it's a fish that we caught in 2021. And, we did a different thing in 2019, et cetera. So just a variety of things that we do in terms of what we call processing that fish. And then we release all of those fish back into the lake. And some fish we get multiple times in 1 year. Many fish we get in consecutive years, things like that. So there are literally, thousands of fish out there that have these tags in them. So, yep.
How often do you guys net throughout the year? How many times do you guys do?
We do one intensive effort in the spring where we do 5 nights at Big Creek and 5 nights at Brushy Creek. And the reason that we do that at this time of year is that the water temperatures are low. And when we get the fish tangled in these gill nets, if you leave those out for a long time, it'll kill the fish. And at warm water temperatures, when their metabolism is higher, it's also a lot harder on the fish. So we do it when the temperatures are colder, and then we will release 99% of those fish back alive. If we did that in the summer, we'd kill all the fish. So then around late October, early November, we'll go back and do this again, but we'll only do it for 1 or 2 nights at each lake. And, I'm talking about this project. It's not my project. My coworker, Ben Dodd, who's the fisheries biologist there in Boone for the Des Moines area and for the central Iowa area, he's the lead on this project. And so he's the super expert on it, but I handle all the fish. I hand the fish to, I hold the fish while Ben puts the tags in the fish. And we have another person copying down and recording all the data in our little trailer while we're out there working. Takes a big team. We've got 2 electrofishing boats out there and 1 boat that handles the nets. And we've got 2 or 3 people, sometimes 4 people on each of those boats. Tyler Stubbs is out there with us. I don't know if you've talked to our aquatic invasive species folks at all, but Kim Bogenschutz and Jason Euchner are out there. Folks from our Sheraton research team, Rebecca Krogman and Savannah Mulbauer are there. And so, we've got a big crew, and then folks from Iowa State. So there's grad students from Iowa State that are working on this project as well. They work in Dr. Michael Weber's lab, and they do a lot of the analysis of the data that we collect in this project. So nice. It's a big team, a great team, and a great team to work with.
Yeah, remind me. We definitely want to reach out to the invasive species. I have some questions for the specialists on that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not well informed about invasive species. So that would be a pretty cool episode to have them on that. So that'd be cool.
You bet. We'll share that information after we get off the air. But great question, Kit. Great question. I hope I answered it to your liking.
Yeah, more than I was expecting, actually. Was there any surprises when you guys were doing the netting this year?
We were pleasantly surprised by the numbers. I personally was surprised with the wipers. I did not expect them to be that awesome. We're not sure if they are. We're not sure if they are maybe kind of stalling out at 21, 22 inches, if they're going to get bigger or not. We're not sure about that. So that's something we want to keep an eye on. One of the other things, we stock both the 8-inch advanced fingerling fish from Rathman Hatchery as well as fry. And we've been happily surprised that our fry stocking is doing exceptionally well in Big Creek, and that's a less costly alternative. And so we're happy with that, and we think probably into the future we'll be able to maintain the walleye fishery in there with fry stocking. So that's a really, really good thing too.
I mean, the wiper, I listened to your guys' episode, and we all know that during the ice season, everybody brought this up, the wipers and people keeping a massive load of all these wipers, going to get rid of them. It's going to be a harmful thing. And I know it's in the back of your guys' mind too, but did this change your mind or anybody's mind in regards to, should we set a limit? Will we set a limit? Are we going to put any regulations on, hybrid bass? Are we going to, or not, or white bass or anything like that? Did this help, I guess you can say, in regards to you seeing how healthy they are? They're there, guys. At the end of the day, you just got to catch them. I mean, right. Granted, people are going to keep whatever fish within the limit, within legal limits. I mean, there's no limit right now, but did it change your mind, or what do you think about that and that topic in a sense? Because I know it was a touchy subject with a lot of people on social media, of course.
It certainly was, and we heard about it. And I don't know that it changed my mind at all. We stock the fish for them to be caught.
Yeah.
So it's not like we put them out there and expect nothing to happen. So, so we do that on purpose. And the reason we do that is for people to catch them. And so people are catching them. That's kind of what our goal is. There's no shortage of prey in Big Creek. Okay. There's a lot of shad. The walleyes are feeding on the shad. The hybrid striped bass are feeding on the shad. Those fish keep growing. As long as the shad are there, then we're going to be in a good place in terms of having predators there to utilize that resource. And if we're stocking fish to utilize that resource, then, great. Go ahead and catch them. I mean, if the populations were having problems, that's when you think about adding a regulation. those populations are not really having any problems. So that's not, there's not a real, pressing reason to add a regulation. If we were to add one, we would need to take a bunch of data first. And so that's probably why we started with taking some data on the hybrid striped bass, on the wipers this spring. What do they look like? What is their condition? What are we seeing? So now we have some data on that. Not enough to make any kind of regulation decision. Mm-hmm. I would conjecture that if we were going to do anything along those lines, it might be, and this is just a guess, we haven't talked about it. Maybe it would be like a 1/18 inches kind of thing, so that, it is a hybrid striped bass, or, some kind of, you can put whatever number you want in there, 1/, 3/, 5/, something like that. But if the concern is the wipers, then you say, okay, above X number of inches, that's not going to be a white bass, that's going to be a wiper. And then that would be potentially, if we were going to do something, that might be what we would do. But there's really there's no movement in that direction right now, because we're putting fish out there for people to catch. So catch them.
All right. So people need to listen to this podcast. All right. Let's just get it out of the way. It's not going to change anytime soon. And there's plenty of hybrid bass to be caught there. Just go out there and catch them. They're there to catch. So we can kind of, hopefully the people who are listening to this can spread the word like, that's it.
Yeah. Right.
Go catch them.
I certainly understand that different individuals have different ethics. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by an ethic is what they feel is an appropriate number of fish to catch. Okay. What you feel is an appropriate number of fish to catch and take home is maybe different than what Kit feels, or what I feel, or what Hank and Andy feel. Everybody's got their own kind of personal ethic in that regard. Mm-hmm. And where this is heading is, to me, is, certain groups want to have their ethic be the dominant ethic for this particular species, and that has occurred with bluegills and crappie and perch, that we've made a decision that 25 is the cap on that. And on the Mississippi River, we have that for white bass. We have limits for white bass. So, it's certainly possible. But that's the path that this is taking. Is, where, if something is going to happen in that regard, then it's kind of, at this juncture, a social regulation more than a biological regulation, and defining for the masses what that ethic should be. Nope. So the take home is, don't waste the resource. Take what you want, take what's appropriate and necessary, and, go from there.
So Jeff just said, use common sense.
I did.
Fishermen, absolutely. Use common sense. Pretty much. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, common sense sometimes isn't so common, but I'm gonna. Well, the hybrids, the reason why they're in our waterways is due to the DNR's efforts of stocking them. Correct?
Absolutely. They don't exist naturally out there. That's right. a white bass crossed with an ocean striped bass. Okay. We don't have ocean striped bass here. These hybrids grow bigger, stronger. They fight better. They're more fun to catch. And they utilize a resource that's readily available in certain systems, like Big Creek, like Sailorville and Red Rock, like Ada Hayden, although I think they pretty much almost eliminated the shad from Ada Hayden, but really? Like Blue Heron, and so we put them in these systems where there may be limited other opportunities to catch fish. Like, for example, Ada Hayden up here in Ames. That's a big gravel pit. It's not going to support a great bluegill fishery. It's because there's no littoral zone. There's not a lot of weeds. It's going to have some nice bass. There's going to be some good catfish if you want. We put rainbow trout in there. Why? Because it provides an opportunity. There were shad in the system. We put hybrid striped bass in there because the shad were there to take advantage of that food supply and have a fish that people want to catch available to them in a place that's appropriate. Absolutely. They're there because we put them there, and we put them there because it's a system that can handle it, that it's appropriate for, and we want to provide a different opportunity, a different option for people to catch fish.
Yeah, I'm
It's
curious.
a lot more fun to go to Ada Hayden and catch an 18-inch wiper than to catch a 4-inch bluegill.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
True.
Yeah. So where are these hybrids coming from? Are we crossing them here in the state, or are we bringing them in from out of state?
We bring them in from out of state. We get them either from Kansas or from Arkansas for the most part.
Kansas has some nice hybrids.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. Yeah.
And
there's a lot of commercial aquaculture in Arkansas, some of the places we get them from down there. Yep.
Interesting. I think Fishing Kid was asking, what do you guys actually do with the data that you guys, record from the nettings? Like, I know you record them, and then what does that data actually do for you or for anybody else? I mean, what does the Iowa DNR do with that data?
Well, we're going to start sharing it again pretty soon. Would you like to see it?
Sure.
Yes, we touched on it a little bit on the last time we got together, but now Jeff's got something to show us.
So the people who are listening to the podcast, we'll do the best we can to explain what Jeff is going to be doing here. I'm going to make you a host here so you can kind of share your screen. But the people who are going to see this on YouTube and everything, you guys are going to want to take a look at this because it's pretty enhancing. You're going to want to see this. Hold on, let me make you a host here, Jeff.
So in 2018, our ability to provide our survey data to the anglers of Iowa ceased to exist. Sometime, hopefully in April, you will be able to go to the Iowa DNR website and see something like I'm showing right now. This is our data dashboard. This is the internal. We don't have the outward facing ready to go quite yet, but a selection of the things that I'm going to show you. The things I'm going to show you are what's going to be available to the public, but not everything you see here is going to be available to the public.
Yeah. So the people who are listening, Jeff's just sharing his screen, but what he's showing us is the Iowa DNR survey project, and it's just a dashboard that it looks like we're going to be able to navigate through on the website, correct?
Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to now go to our survey summary reports. So it's just a summary of like the data that we collect when we're out there. And we were messing around a little bit earlier. I pulled up some data from Big Creek Lake, and I pulled up all of our sampling from Big Creek from last year, 2020. So this does not actually include our spring and fall gill netting work because we didn't do that in 2020 because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And we haven't integrated that spring gill netting work because of our work with Iowa State. There's students that will be publishing on that. So this is more our internal survey work that we do our monitoring of lakes. So this is what our staff did standalone. In May and June, we go out and do electrofishing for bass and panfish. In July and August, we go out and set nets to look at our catfish populations. And in September, we go out and set nets to look at our crappie population. So I've selected those 3 different surveys. We have 30 different nets or shocking runs with over 1,080 fish that we captured at Big Creek.
Wow.
You can see the sampling type summary. We show that we did electrofishing at a variety of locations. There's also fyke netting, which is what we do for the crappies, and hoop netting, which is what we do for the catfish. Wow. You can see or listen to me. We had 500 bluegills, 280 white bass, a few hybrid striped bass. We have the counts, the minimum and maximum lengths for those fish, the average length for each species of fish. We have weights, and we have some information about the size of the fish. And I'll go into more on the next slide or the next screen about what some of this stock density stuff means.
Yeah, and for people who are listening, if you're a numbers person, or if you want to see, you have to see this. I mean, Jeff, like he was just saying, it shows you literally the average catch that you guys are netting. It shows you how many. It's just a numbers game. This is game changing, I think, in a sense for anglers. I think it's going to help, how they plan out, specific species that they're going to, target and where. This is definitely game. I mean, in my opinion, it helps. It enhances the fishing to making it how you plan out for it, right?
Absolutely. And the next thing I show you will be even better. This is if you're interested about one particular lake, what I'm showing you right now is the everything in the kitchen sink about that lake. It shows a map that has all of our different sampling locations, and the size of the bubble indicates how many fish we caught at each of those locations. And then we call these are kind of the cool graphs. In technical jargon, these are length frequency histograms. So the length of the bar from left to right indicates how many fish were caught, and the vertical axis is in half-inch increments. So you can see we have a whole lot of fish that are about black crappie that are 7.5 to 8 inches in Big Creek. Mm-hmm. The bluegills, the majority of those, almost 100 fish in the 7.5 to 8 inch category. We're not seeing many fish up to 10 inches. The largemouth bass, largemouth bass, fish up to and over 20 inches. Over here to the walleyes, fish, in the upper 20-inch range.
Wow.
And this is from sampling when we're not targeting walleyes. So muskie and walleyes, we're not sampling at a time that we're actually going to be very effective looking for those with the data that we're presenting here. And so this is pretty much all incidental, and that's not a true reflection of the quality of the fishery for those species. Pretty good information here on the white bass, though. Lots of fish in that 10 to 12 inch size range, and then there's also some white and hybrid striped bass in that system, a few white crappies, and a few yellow perch. So
can we just keep this for ourselves? Man, this is amazing information. No, this are any other states, do they do anything like this besides? Because I'm not sure.
We fashioned this. This is similar to what like Minnesota does with their lake finder. Okay. But this is brand new. So there's stuff here that's presented in a little different manner. They've got some more report capabilities where like some of this stuff is written up, whereas right now for us, this is mostly just numbers and data. So you'll have the ability to print this. There's a little thing up here in the corner where you can print, and it actually, you'll enter your email address and it will send you a PDF with this whole survey, sent right to your inbox. So
nice.
That's awesome.
We're going to go back. Now this is my favorite thing. I mean, this is the geek coming out. But, so right here, we are looking at all the bluegills caught in the last 12 years.
Wow.
And we can pick whatever species you want. These colored bars tell you the numbers of fish in each size category. Mm-hmm. And so a quality size bluegill is between 6 and 8 inches. A preferred is 8 to 10 inches. A memorable is 10 to 12 inches, and a trophy is greater than 12 inches. So do you want to know where we've sampled the most preferred size?
Yeah, let's find out where the most. Man, this is crazy. Okay, yeah, holy cow. Hey, don't go. Hey, you're gonna have to blur that out, Kit. we don't want people to know. Just kidding.
Now, granted, bluegills only live 6 to 8 years, and this is, like 16 years of data or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, how about what we had in 2020?
Oh,
wow.
You go.
Yeah. So just for the listeners, what Jeff is on, he's on a different tab on the website and everything. He's able to kind of show us, I guess you could say this is kind of a graph of all the fish caught of a specific species. And right now he's just searching through bluegills, and it lists all of the lakes in Iowa here, and this, wherever they did the surveys, and you can pretty much see which lake has the most blue, or at least that you guys have caught the most bluegills, I guess you can say, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So, and Prairie Rose is a system we've talked about having great bluegills for a while, and there it is, right near the top of the list. Nice. Badger Creek, right outside of Des Moines, quality bluegill fishery. There you go.
Yeah, basically this helps you break down a lake like instantly for those people that are trying to scout new lakes. What's in there. Should I even try this lake for, let's say, bluegills? Like, instead of maybe you're thinking about some lake that's near the bottom of the list, and then looking at that, you'll probably reconsider, like, maybe I don't want to go there to catch bluegills. Then I'll try one of these other lakes.
Man, this is so cool. I'm cracking another beer. I'm doing the block party now. I'm doing a new. This is so cool, because what Fishing Kid was saying is completely great. It's like if you're gonna go camping, let's say you're taking a family or your friends or family, you go into a specific lake. Now you can kind of technically really game plan, like, okay, well, this lake has a ton of this, that's what you guys have been catching the last couple of years.
Yep.
And this is what you don't have to waste your time trying to catch walleye. That lake does, technically doesn't have that much walleye, but if it has a ton of, white bass or bluegills or crappies, you can definitely target that. So that's actually really cool.
Yep. Yeah. You can select your year, you can select the species. So this particular graph, the state of Nebraska puts out an annual fishing forecast, and they have graphs exactly like this for a wide variety of species, probably a dozen species. And it shows these stacked bar graphs that show, by each size category, how many fish in each one of those lakes. And they print that and distribute that once a year. We do it on the fly. And as soon as we collect the data for this next year and review it, it'll be in there for 2021. Okay. Nice. It's, there is such a huge difference between, I can look at this piece of paper, that they printed out from last year, or what am I seeing right now in real time? And so, maybe, and we don't sample everywhere every year. So maybe you want to select, a different year. What did it look like in 2019 versus 2020? And okay, so Blackhawk Lake had really good largemouth bass, and 3 Mile in 2019 versus in 2020, we did different kind of sampling, a lot of small fish at Sujima, but some really solid numbers at Little River. And, and Blackhawk was good too. It's like, 7th down there on the list, something like that. In 2018 data is going to be pretty valid also. Okay, there's Lake Wapello, Lake Miami, West Okoboji. There's a variety of ways to look through this, and boom, you select a different year, it immediately generates that graph. You want to know about black crappie instead of largemouth bass. Boom, there it is. And that was from 2018. I want the 2020 data.
Yeah, we want the 2020.
There it is.
Really?
I'm a tournament director, and I want to know which lakes my anglers are going to be most likely to catch legal fish. Boom. Click a couple of buttons. Maybe I should schedule a tournament at Blackhawk. There's tons of tournaments at Little River. There's tons of tournaments at Green Valley. What about some of these other systems?
Yep. No, this is good information for, like you just said, the tournament directors or anybody who's hosting a tournament or fundraiser or anything like that. This is good stuff because, like you just said, like, you know what? If I'm doing if somebody's going to host a kayak tournament for specific species, this is going to be amazing to them because they can look like, well, this lake has most of this stuff. I can set something up right there. So that's really cool.
Yep. So, and all the species are available there. So
nice.
So next time I see somebody on Facebook asking about a lake, what's in there? Like, let me direct you to this little website that the DNR has put together.
Yeah, this is definitely going to help. Not just, I mean, I think it's just going to help for the enjoyment of fishing and planning. I think that's the cool part of it. So you said April, is that when your guys are?
That's my target. I hope to get it out in the next couple of weeks. Absolutely.
Okay, so awesome, cool.
And then I know that there are individuals that want all of what we've been presenting is a lot of comparative data and summarized data. There are people who are going to want to have all of the raw data, so we're going to have that available too. Wow. You want to download all of the 2020 electrofishing data for Big Creek? Have at it,
Wow.
Right here, export the data, however many, and it'll export it to Excel, and you can data mine to your heart's content.
That is really cool, and man, that's insane. That's awesome, man.
I like how you build in the tools for like the true fishing geeks out there.
Yep.
Fishing Kit's going to be on this for like days and days, and this is going to be.
It's called a rabbit hole.
Yep, I can definitely see that. I mean, actually, it doesn't even matter if you're a geek or not. Just people who love fishing in a sense and just kind of want to get into it and plan. This is something, like you just said, though. I can see myself on this for like at night for like a couple hours, just trying to figure out my plan for the weekend or whatever trip I'm going to be taking. So this is really cool.
That was the entire goal, is to have something that can really satisfy the needs of our anglers across the board, from the people that just want to, maybe plan a trip to a park and see what's going on there, to those that want to do a deep dive into the data themselves. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the biggest thing too, though, is the real time thing. Like you were saying, once you guys do a survey and then you guys gonna literally just going to be uploaded. So I think that's crucial because, like you were saying, a lot of other states, that we've been to that I fished at or even looked up, is they're always like months or if not years behind in regards to their data.
So were we.
Yeah.
We were too.
True.
This is going to be a positive change. Yep.
Yeah. So that's really, really cool.
We didn't even talk about Brushy Creek.
All right, let's jump. Yeah. Okay. So we can. So everybody, like I said, Fishing Kit. We'll grab the link and everything. Once you can provide that to us whenever you're ready on that. Once it's up and ready and it's live on that, Jeff, and we can just send it out all to our listeners, and that way they can just go there and really start looking into it. Because I'm telling you that I think I hope your servers can handle, because it's gonna get bombarded, at least initially. I know for sure. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be pretty cool to see that.
The DNR sends out a press release on Tuesdays, and so it should be one of the next couple of Tuesdays that we'll have something in our press release. I think the web address is going to be fishdata.iowadnr.gov, and so that's not publicly available yet, but that's where it's going to be, and we're going to have links to it off of our DNR fisheries web pages. So yeah, it'll be right there.
Can't wait.
That's pretty cool.
Tell us, how did it go at Brushy? What was the difference between there and Big Creek? Like, was everything the same, the way you guys, the process and everything, or is it different? And how did it go?
The process is all the same,
Okay.
but we have, Brushy Creek is the second deepest lake in the state. Only West Okoboji really is deeper. Maybe a couple of the gravel pits might be in that range. There's a gravel pit in Atlantic. There's Ada Hayden here in Ames that are really deep. But Brushy being so big and so deep, it takes a long time to warm up. So I think that over the years when we've been up there, it's just still been cold and we've been early on in the spawn, and maybe we didn't see all the fish that were there, because this year when it got so warm so fast, we saw numbers of fish that were close to double what we had seen in the past.
Wow. Okay.
First off. So we would have expected maybe 75 fish a night at Big Creek, and we were seeing 120 to 150 fish a night.
Wow.
A lot more fish. And I will say, like, the first night we were up there, we got maybe 40, 50 fish out of our nets. I've never seen, and we had like 140, 150 fish total. I've never seen a sample of walleyes that had that many fish that big. I mean, I can't tell you how many fish over 25 inches we had.
Jeez.
It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Just crazy. So we had unbelievably great numbers of fish at Big Creek and unbelievably great fish size at Brushy. There's somebody a week or two ago was fishing up at Brushy and caught a 31-inch walleye. That's been going around on social media a little bit. We also caught a 31-inch walleye in our nets at Brushy. We caught one at Big Creek and one at Brushy also. But wow, just so many fish bigger than 25 inches. So many fish bigger than 22 inches. And historically, maybe they weren't as fat, as plump as fish other places, but the yellow perch have really come on at Brushy in the last few years. There's not great size to those yellow perch, but there's great numbers, and the walleyes are really taking advantage of that food resource. And so they are fat and happy. I mean, the body condition on those fish is just out of this world. Outstanding.
Yeah, basically the forage in Bay Creek is shad for walleyes, and then at Brushy Creek they're yellow perch, huh?
That is correct. That should influence your lure type selection.
So I shouldn't throw my shad-colored lures at Brushy Creek.
I'm not saying you won't catch fish, but I am saying that they may be tuned into a little different forage item than your flicker shad.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have to make a trip there, Kit, and kayak fish up there.
It's like he said, it's big. It's a big lake.
Well, we'll have to.
It's big and it's tough.
Okay.
It's a hard lake to learn. And there are people who have spent a lot of time and are very successful. And there are people who have spent a lot of time and are not very successful. Yeah. And first timers are rarely successful.
Hopefully we'll do a little bit better. I mean, I don't know. I like we were talking. I didn't do too well ice fishing this past season. I just caught a bunch of little panfish. How did you get a chance to get out ice season a lot at all or at all? No,
0.
It was rough. It was a rough winter for me. So yeah, just one of them things. I set up the ice shack. I had the ice shack in the back of the truck, and I got busy. I was deer hunting through the end of late muzzleloader in January, and then after that was over, that's when I set up my ice shack. And I had some stuff going on that I was busy with in January, and then when I had time to go in February,
Mhm.
it's too cold to fish.
We-
I mean,
yeah,
I hate to say
know.
that, but it was too cold to fish there for like 2 weeks.
It was too
And then
cold to
all of a
ice
sudden,
fish. You're right.
It was over and gone, And
Yeah.
so it's like, ugh, it was tough.
We were the idiots that fished in the yellow bass bonanza in minus 40-degree weather. And yeah, you're right. It totally was too cold to be ice fishing. Crazy.
Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. The younger me might have gone out and done that, but the older me was like, there's got to be a better day than today.
No, it's the wiser one. Because trust me, me and Kid looking at each other, we did not want to be out there. I'm not gonna lie. When it was that blistering cold, we're like, gosh, we're a bunch of idiots.
It was pretty miserable. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. So spring is up. What do you recommend to the anglers that right now it's open water, ice is gone, spring's up, summer's gonna be coming here pretty soon. As a knowledgeable Iowa Dnr person that you are, what would you recommend to a person like myself that's gonna, I'm excited to go out there and fish? I mean, what recommendations, whether it's body of water or anything like that, or lures or anything, or just locations or anything like that, is there anything you would recommend?
Absolutely. So, one of the really interesting species we have is red ear sunfish, and they almost always have fantastic body condition. They're like a bluegill on steroids because they just get bigger and thicker, but they're not accessible to the anglers really, other than when they're spawning in the spring. So this time of year, in May, when those panfish are spawning, is a fantastic time to get on some red ear sunfish. And Badger Creek really has a phenomenal population of red ears and bluegills. Mm-hmm. So one place I would say to go in May would probably be heading over there for some red ears. Also Hawthorne Lake, which is over by Montezuma. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Another place with really high quality red ear sunfish. So those are something that you may not spend much time fishing for, but is really worth your time if you get on some good ones. Early spring, before the water gets too dirty, Littlefield is a really great place to fish over between Anita and Audubon. Prairie Rose has been really good for a while. If you're gonna, go for a camping weekend, head over to Harlan to Prairie Rose State Park and hit the camper and catch really high quality bluegills, high quality crappie. Early spring crappie fishing is off the charts. If you're fishing from shore, someplace like Roberts Creek, down by Pella, Don Williams has a good looking crappie population right now. Can't go wrong in any of those Creston area lakes. Just across the board, Creston's off the charts. Bass, bluegill, crappie, bonus walleyes down there. That's all really good. I'm going to make sure and take an early May trip up to Clear Lake. The yellow bass population up there, those fish are pretty big. We saw them in our end of the year surveys this past year. So I expect, they may be getting toward the end of their life. They're going to be at their largest during the spawn this spring. So a trip to Clear Lake. Crappies at Clear Lake are out of this world. So I'm for sure I'm going to take a trip up to Clear Lake.
Are you going to be shore fishing or are you going to be on a boat in Clear Lake?
I like to go wader fishing, wade out to the island and wade out there. Mm-hmm. Also in both in the reeds, kind of, if you go to McIntosh Woods on the east side, you've got the reeds, a lot of good yellow perch and crappie fishing on the reeds side. If you go to the Ventura side on the west side, get out into the reeds and out into the cattails and high quality bluegills and crappies out there. You can access all that stuff in a kayak too. You can do the exact same stuff, whether you're wader fishing or kayak fishing, and you can move around faster in the kayak. So
all right,
all
kid.
that is really good.
I was asking for us for us kayak fishermen, because you know what, you're right about the size of the yellow bass. And Kit was saying that, he goes, dude, we got to take our kayaks this year, because granted the numbers aren't like a tremendous amount, but the size that we were catching yellow bass up there, they are large. They're pretty large.
I don't know if you listened to, I think it was the January podcast. We had Kevin Paul on for our DNR podcast.
Yep.
And he was telling about how he had an angler come out that was targeting 15-inch crappies, and they had one like within a half hour. Just monster crappies on Clear Lake. Yeah.
Man.
Did you guys catch the April podcast that we did where I talked about the potato gun?
Yes. When you took your trip, it was the lady's husband, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It was fantastic. It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. Yes. Yeah. It was awesome. I wish I would have taken some pictures and video.
Yeah. So to our listeners who don't know, you guys got to get on. Jeff's on the podcast with Ross Peterson. They do a monthly podcast for the Iowa Dnr. So make sure you guys check them out. We check them out monthly. It's pretty cool. I love what you and Ross do. It really does enhance in regards to the Iowa Dnr. I think gives us an opportunity as listeners and what's going on type of thing. And you coming on here just giving us the information like that is pretty badass of you, man. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Anytime. I love talking to you guys. This is fun. This is a fun part of the job, and I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity, because it's not my knowledge to keep inside. It's my knowledge to share. It's my information to share, and I'm happy to do so. And it's wonderful to have avenues to share that information and opportunities to do so. And I really appreciate that you guys take the time to do this and support us and the fishing community with what you're doing. And so thank you. This is great.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. I mean, because
I'm happy to do this. It's been like 6 months since we did this, and I'm happy to do this.
Yeah. And we had Tyler Stubbs on a couple months ago. So it was kind of cool just to have you guys on. And myself and Kit were just talking. We're like, we got to keep it local too. We do have a lot of listeners, because FYI, you're going to see a bunch of out of staters are going to come there, like, listen to our podcast. We do have a lot of listeners in Nebraska, in Minnesota, in all the whole US. We have the West Coast and everything. They're listening to us. Is pretty cool, pretty crazy. But it's just to have you on, because we love to keep it local. And then on top of that, just that, we were talking, we got to have Iowa Dnr at least on our podcast quarterly, because just to keep us updated what's going on, because we fish here. We travel and fish a little bit once in a while, but 99% of the time, Fishing Kid and myself, we fish in Iowa. Our listeners are 90% from Iowa, even though we have everybody else from everywhere else. But it's kind of cool just to have you on here, and then just, once we get an opportunity, I definitely want to talk to some more Iowa Dnr people, because I'm pretty sure they have other different expertise that they can give us, and it'd be kind of cool just to kind of talk to them and learn a little bit more about that. So absolutely, I've got the Rolodex if you need that. Sounds good. So, Fishing Kit, you got anything else for Jeff, man? This is it's been a short hour in my eyes, because man, I just there's so much more information, but I know he's already spent a lot of time with us, because I know you're a busy man. But you got anything else for him, guy?
Oh yeah, I think I got a pretty good one here. So in Iowa,
another beer for this question?
Actually, yes, I do. I'll be right back.
Thank you for joining us at Beerfish Fanatics. And this episode is actually brought to you by Whisker Secret Tackle.
So make sure you guys go to whiskersecret.com for all your catfishing gear.
But yeah, I just got my pedal kayak, because I finally upgraded this year.
Oh yeah?
Because last year we were up at Clear Lake. We took our kayaks up there. I struggled. It wasn't super windy, but it was windy enough to where I was looking to Kit's over here pedaling, free-handed pedaling, but he was staying, with the wind and the drifting, not so much. My buddy, he has a pedal kayak doing the same thing, and I couldn't stay still unless I anchored down. And it was just one of those things where, all right, to be able to be on a kayak and be, completely free-handed, be able to fish, it makes a big difference. I was like, all right, I had to do it this year. So I actually told my wife, I go, stimulus check, at least a little bit, something. I got to get a pedal kayak. So I actually finally took the dive, and I got it. It was about 2 weeks ago, so I've been kind of just working on it. So hopefully I can get that out with Kit this weekend. That's what I'm super excited to get it out this weekend and see how it does and how I do to be able to be hands free fishing on the kayak. So excited.
Good for you. That sounds awesome. I'm still on the paddle kayak. So.
Well, we got to get together. We'll get together so we can go kayak fishing with you, so you can kind of show us the ropes, if you don't mind on that one, Jeff.
I do want to hit the yellow bass spawn on the kayak.
There you go.
And you mentioned that you're planning on hitting that bite. So
let us know. If you let us know, we'll I mean, for sure, fishing Kit, I'll talk to the boss, see if she's not on call or anything like that. I'll see if I can schedule something. That'll be pretty fun to get up there.
Yeah, you don't have to be on the kayak, Jeff, if you don't want to. I'll be out there on the kayak.
you just guide us in what direction. So
I'll see what I can do.
There you go. All right, cheers, guys. Got a new beer.
Yes.
I am the drinker today.
Yeah, I got myself a block party from Kalona Brewery.
Oh, cheers, man.
It's the New England style hazy IPA.
Yep. I did that too. What do you got? Are you drinking?
Did you crack open your freaking big boy?
I went with the hand size. I've got a RPM IPA from Boneyard Beer in Bend, Oregon. A buddy of mine acquired some beer out in Oregon and sent it my way. So,
nice. We're gonna have to talk
about some West Coast beers at this juncture.
Yeah. My wife actually, her old classmate when she was in college, somehow they opened up a brewery up there in Oregon area. So I'm gonna have to reach out to them. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to find out where that location is. So cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
All right, Kit. So what's the doozy question? I want to know now too.
Well, I don't know if doozy is the right word or not, but so I'm kind of coming off of your podcast that you guys did with the DNR for April. So in Iowa, I'm guessing we're basically on the tail end of a walleye spawn. Am I not mistaken?
You're 100% correct. Yep.
Okay. So like in Iowa, we have a pretty robust walleye stocking program, and walleyes can reproduce, unlike the hybrids. So why do we need such a robust program in Iowa if we're not? I mean, if walleyes can spawn.
Walleyes can spawn. Walleye natural reproduction is much more limited than it would be in pristine conditions. So if you think about Canadian lakes where you go walleye fishing, there's one cabin per lake. It's very limited in terms of how much development there is around the lake. And for walleyes to successfully spawn, you have to have kind of light to gradually wind-blown shores that are relatively clean and sandy, and the action of the wind rolls the eggs a little bit, and it's got to be somewhat clean water. It's just not a situation that we have a lot of here in Iowa. And I just saw a graphic the other day April is the windiest month in the state of Iowa. And so we just have conditions that are a little too harsh in terms of the quality of the water, the quality of an amount of the particular necessary habitat for that to sustain itself naturally. So we have a angling constituency that really likes to walleye fish. And so in order to satisfy those needs, we need an aggressive stocking program to fulfill that desire from our anglers. The lakes in Iowa, you're going to have a little bit of natural reproduction successful in a few of the natural lakes, probably not at all in any of our constructed lakes, impoundments, reservoirs. That's just the habitat doesn't exist. You can have some natural reproduction in some of our rivers, but again, the majority of our walleyes in our interior rivers, at least, are the result of our stocking program. The only place you're really likely to catch a walleye that was not stocked is either the Mississippi River, potentially maybe the Missouri River, but even a lot of those fish are stocked in the big reservoirs in South Dakota. So if we don't stock it, you probably aren't, you didn't catch it. And it's the same thing with catfish in our lakes. You know, we have a little bit of natural reproduction in some of our natural lakes, but in our constructed lakes and reservoirs, almost all of those catfish are stocked. You know,
wow. Yeah, I didn't know that about the catfish.
I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Now in the Des Moines River, that's a catfish that spawned, and probably, you know, we didn't stock that fish. But if you are at Easter Lake, absolutely we stock that fish, no question. If you're, the Grays Lake's a bad example. If you're out at Rock Creek, you're at Badger Creek, any place like that, you know, that is if you catch a catfish, we stock that fish. Yep.
Oh, that makes sense about the walleye one. That was very informative. I had no idea. I mean, it makes complete sense when you explain it the way you just did. Yeah, we don't have the same, I guess, like you were saying, the same habitat as Minnesota or up in Canada areas, and that's why they're able to have those types of walleyes. And
yep. And even in Minnesota, they stock a lot of walleyes. I mean, we stock 140 million walleyes. They stock way more walleyes than that. I don't know what the numbers are, but way more walleyes than that.
Well, they're a bunch of walleye snobs though up there, and they're happy to admit it. Yeah, we catch walleyes that are, blah blah blah. That's their thing in Minnesota. But it's kind of weird. That's your thing. But then we see your cars here on the weekend. I'm not gonna lie, I see your cars here on the weekend. What's going on?
Yeah. So if you guys, for our listeners that really want to check out how the whole stocking program works, the Iowa Dnr's most recent podcast goes into like the nitty gritty, like all the details, because that's what kind of inspired my question for you there, Jeff.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you listening to that. And yeah, we had Jay, our hatchery manager from Rathbun, on, and he did a deep dive into some of the details. That's for sure. The DNR also, I forget if it's on our Facebook or our Twitter, but we did a video. Ben Wallace up at our Blackhawk Lake office at Lakeview did a video of what they do at our Storm Lake facility where we do walleye collection. And I don't remember how many minutes that video is, but it's really cool. They did a great job, just kind of, a show and tell of what the walleye work looks like at Storm Lake. And so that's worth looking up also.
And I was just thinking of what was the fry count that Jay mentioned? Was it 140 million fry or something?
Yep, we're going to stock about 140 million fry. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
and you know, that brings me back to the whole Big Creek, Brushy Creek thing. Stocking fry at Big Creek makes that fishery a really quality walleye fishery. And we rarely see fry stocked fish at Brushy Creek. It's the advanced fingerlings that are really making the difference at Brushy Creek. And I can't tell you what the difference is, why the fry work at one place and not the other, but that's why we do this research, you know, to figure that out. So, you know, we stock what's appropriate for the one system that works there in that system, and in another system that doesn't work. And if we want to have a quality walleye fishery at Brushy Creek, we have to stock those advanced fingerlings for that to work there.
Yeah. So like the advanced fingerling, how old are those fish?
Those are fish that we spawn and hatch in April. And we stock them in October, and we've grown them to 8 inches by October. So they're 6 months old when we stock them.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
The walleye researchers that we have at our Rathbun facility are some of the best in the world. Alan Johnson and his team down there at the Rathbun research facility are just absolutely top notch. And they've really figured out how to grow these fish, and they do a heck of a job. I'm in awe of the quality of work that they do.
Yeah. Is there any particular reason why the hatchery is at Rathbun, or that just happens to be like, oh, here's this impoundment?
Right. You know, that lake was built in the early 1970s, and that was a time that we needed to expand our hatchery facilities here in the state of Iowa. So the water supply was available, the land was available. And so, you know, you combine those things together, and that's why that facility was built at that time. And yeah, that was a time when we were doing a little bit more catfish work. And so being in the southern part of the state, the growing season is longer than in the northern part of the state. So, and that's part of the reason why we can grow the walleyes to the size they are too, is, you know, that warmer water down there and a little bit longer growing season. So it's well placed to help us achieve our management goals and our stocking goals.
So where's the other hatcheries at? I think we have one in the IGL somewhere, don't we?
That's correct. We have one kind of between Spirit Lake and East Okoboji. There's a narrow isthmus of land. Yeah, we're dropping knowledge now.
Big words.
There's a narrow isthmus of land between Spirit Lake and East Okoboji, and the Spirit Lake Fish Hatchery is located at that location. Okay. We also have our trout hatcheries at Decorah, Big Spring, and Manchester. We have a hatchery at Fairport, which is on the Mississippi River south of Muscatine. And we also have kind of a small satellite facility at our Mount Air management office. And we grow some bluegills and some hybrid striped bass at that facility at Mount Air.
Okay. So basically the walleyes are coming from 2 hatcheries? Is that what I'm
They're
getting
coming
at?
from Spirit Lake and Rathbun.
For the whole state.
Yeah. And, you know, that we have, speaking of the aquatic invasive species, there are zebra mussels in the Iowa Great Lakes. So the majority of the fish that we have in that system stay within that system because of our zebra mussel concerns. We don't want to be spreading those with the fish. So so the majority of the rest of the state gets fish from Rathbun.
Can you explain the zebra mussels a little bit? Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, I like eating mussels. They're tasty, right?
Right.
So a couple summers ago, I took my daughters to the beach at Ottertail Lake up in Minnesota, and we're walking out, and I think all 3 of us cut our feet on the zebra mussel shells.
Oh boy.
So zebra mussels are about the size of a fingernail, you know, and they're black and white striped, which is why they're called zebra. And they are super sharp, and they reproduce like crazy, like in a liter of water, you could have 1 million baby zebra mussels, and you can't,
Jeez.
and so, and they tend to overpopulate. They are very effective at siphoning the water and cleaning, eating everything that's in the water. And so the native mussels that we might like to eat, although we can't do that with our native Iowa mussels, but that's the native mussel fauna that we have kind of gets outcompeted, and actually those zebra mussels will attach on any hard surface. So you'll see a native clam or mussel shell, and it'll just be coated with zebra mussels, on the lake bottom, because if it's sitting in a muddy or sandy substrate, that's the hard substrate, and so they'll just attach to anything hard, and they're very effective at what they do. We don't really have any natural predators for them in our systems, so they're harmful to the native mussel fauna. They outcompete our larval fish, our baby fish, for food resources in our lakes, so they can be detrimental to our fish populations. And like I say, when there can be 1 million of them in a liter of water, spreading them is pretty easy. That's why you see the clean, drain, dry stuff, billboards about, not spreading water, because by spreading water from one place to the next, you can be spreading these zebra mussels. So they're a significant challenge for us and like I say, we can't really stock the fish from Spirit Lake too many other places, because we don't want to spread these things around to systems that they're not in. At this juncture. We want to protect those to the greatest degree that we can. Managing and maintaining quality fisheries is challenging enough. We don't want to be adding something to that system that makes our work even harder.
Makes sense. Is there any way we can is there a way to get rid of them, or how?
There's not a way. The way that we make sure we're not spreading them is by we put a chemical in the water that the fish can handle, but the baby zebra mussels can't. It's called potassium permanganate, and that kills the veligers, the baby zebra mussels. And so we put that, and Jay mentioned this in our podcast on KXNO about the treatments that we do to those fish that we truck around the state. But the amount of potassium permanganate you would have to put in a lake to kill all the zebra mussels in a lake would be like, 17 train loads of this chemical. And goodness knows what all else you'd kill by doing that. It's just, it's not feasible.
Gotcha. So stop spreading it, guys. Wash off your boats and your, kayaks and all that. There's a reason why they put that sign up.
Dump your bait in the trash, not in the lake. Clean, drain, dry. Don't be spreading water. Don't be spreading, Eurasian water milfoil, zebra mussels, etc. But I don't want to steal. You should get Kim or Jason on here to talk about some of this stuff. They're the real experts. I just slept at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
I love it. Anything else, Kit?
I
know
Let me look at my notes. I actually I made notes, but
I had a lot.
I think
you guys take notes and you just expect me to have the answers.
yes.
But you do. That's a crazy thing. It's like
Jeff, the man with all the answers.
True that.
I have an answer. And nobody knows whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but I have an answer.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, at least you got some credentials to back up your answers.
Very true.
Or I'm good at BSing, one or the other.
So, well, let's get away from all the data and research stuff. So, spring's fishing coming up. What is your bite that you're looking forward to the most?
My first and foremost favorite thing is to go up and hit that yellow bass bite at Clear Lake. And, that's just, I get up early in the morning, hit the road, try and get there before the sun comes up, about 5 a.m. and catch some fish. Usually can get some bonus crappies, especially if you're fishing over in the little lake by Ventura, fishing those cattails. The yellow perch have really come on at Clear Lake too. I haven't got into them. Actually, the biggest smallmouth I've ever caught in the state of Iowa, I caught yellow bass fishing at Clear Lake right off the island. So that was pretty awesome too. I used to like to do some crappie fishing in the spring. I've gotten a little busy to get much of that done, but Don Williams looks to have a really solid crappie population. So I really want to get over there at least once this spring and see if I can't catch some crappies at Don Williams. And then, get a little bit later on when the water gets a little bit warmer, later May, early June. I usually try and see what's happening out in western and southwest Iowa, and maybe I'll go hit Lake Anita or Prairie Rose or something like that. So those are all the ones I'm willing to tell you about. Now, if we're in private, there's a couple other spots maybe.
I think he was trying to pry it a little bit. Hey, Kit, you're good, man. I was waiting for him to answer, but you gotta let us know when you go up there to Clear Lake. Fishing Kit myself, we'll definitely meet you up there. I want to see this. I've never caught a yellow bass not through the ice, so it'd be kind of cool to catch it, open water. So it'd be pretty darn cool to do that. The only other thing was I just want to mention, because I don't know if we'll get an opportunity, was are you going to be following Hank a little bit on his escapade here? Because so the listeners, if you guys listen to previous episodes, we had Hank Kohler on, and he went up north many years ago, but this year he's going to be going down south. Are you going to follow him in regards to his whole journey and trip, everything on that one?
I intend to take a couple of days this summer and put in some miles with Hank. Absolutely. Hank's got a new website for that. It's the word 1, the number 4, and the word water. I'm trying to think if it's water or fish. Can you look that up? I think it's 1 for water. And it's about the trip that he's taking, starting at the exact same spot where he canoed from central Minnesota all the way to Hudson Bay. He's going to go to that exact same spot. I've been at that spot with him a dozen times, and he's going to go the other way, and he's going to canoe from that same spot to the Gulf of Mexico. And, Hank's one of my best friends, and we've already donated to his endeavor. My family has, and I intend to go for a few days with him on this trip on the Mississippi. So absolutely.
That's so cool. So just anybody who's wondering, go get the book, The Water Goes North.
Yep.
And it was kind of cool because I read that book when we had Hank on. I read it. My kids were like, Daddy, what are you reading? And I was like, I literally got entrenched in that book. It's kind of
awesome,
cool.
Isn't it?
It's pretty darn cool to kind of read and to see Hank where he is now, and just envisioning him as a young man, just going on that journey. It totally made sense, and it totally was like, man, that is so crazy, but it's just like, it's a once in a lifetime thing. And then he's doing this now. So, that's why I wanted to ask you, because I knew you were going to be a little bit a part of it. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And he's raising funds for the Mississippi River Museum there in Dubuque. This whole thing is not about him. It's about, raising awareness, thinking about water quality, cleaning up water, taking care of the fish, and, and making it, a fundraiser for that entity that focuses on those similar goals that that he has. So it's going to be, it's a great thing that he's doing. And I look forward to being a part of it.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Stuff.
So when is he supposed to partake on that journey?
It's somewhere around the 10th of June is when he's going to start up in Minnesota. Okay. And so he's going to go, he's starting at East Leaf Lake. So he'll go down to the Leaf. He's not starting at the headwaters of the Mississippi, which is, what one would normally do. But when you've started at a different spot and gone to Hudson Bay, by golly, you're going to start at that same spot and go the other direction.
That makes sense.
So he's going to go down the Leaf River to the Crow Wing River, and then dump into the Mississippi and follow the Mississippi the rest of the way down. So.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to have to have him on before he takes his journey.
I think so too.
Absolutely. And we're also going to have him on our KXNO podcast either in May or in June. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You should get him back on soon.
We will. We'll definitely do, because it was a fun podcast with him. And like you said, it's just, I don't know, something about the stories that he was telling. I'm telling you, just the stories that he partakes in. It's just in a way, it just blows my mind that, stuff that he's gone through. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
He's a great guy. He's a great angler. He's a great advocate, and he's a great storyteller.
There you go. 1,000%. Man, we got to have them on more. You know what? This is what we'll do. Kit, we got to have Jeff and Hank on at the same time.
Oh, at the same time.
Yeah.
BFFs. Literally.
It will be BFF with the BFFs. We can do that. That'd be pretty badass. We'll do BFF with the BFFs. I love it. So, you know what? We can make that happen. That's going to be so cool.
Make that happen. Absolutely. We can make that happen.
We'll do that before that'd be so cool. We can, if not, it's all good. But I mean, we can get that before.
We can wait till after.
That could even be better. we can ask Hank, hey, how did Jeff do on the trip?
He was horrible. Couldn't keep up.
It'll be fun.
Whining and crying.
That's what I say. It'll be fun. We'll definitely do that. That's, what I was just thinking about that. That'll be so much fun to have you both on, just to give us a little bit about the adventure and all that good stuff, man. So, anything else, Kit? Man, dude, you got some good questions today.
I don't want this show to drag on for 2 hours. We got to cut it off at some point.
We're at an hour and a half already.
I know.
Yeah.
I should have got out the big beer.
It's okay. We could have. We still could, but no, you're right. We don't want to drag it on because everybody's probably listening. But actually, you know what? It's been not only entertaining but very informative. I think what you bring to us. There's a reason why everybody asks. You got to have that Iowa guy, that Iowa Dnr guy. You got to have him back on. So there's a reason why. Like I say, it's been a blast, and look at that. My camera even shut off on me. Yep.
I was gonna say, what happened?
No, my whole battery shut off on me, dude.
Oh.
So that means
that's a sign. That's
a sign. So I had to go to my laptop camera. So, but other than that, man, it's I can't wait to have you back on again, Jeff. I think what you bring to not just our show, but I think what you bring to the Iowa Dnr to us fishermen in Iowa, definitely appreciative information that you're bringing. And then I can't wait till hopefully he said in April or May, once that website's up, once it's up and rocking and rolling, I truly believe is a game changer for any fisherman here in Iowa.
Absolutely. So. I agree 100%.
So thank you so much for all your hard work. Thank you for just joining us, and can't wait to have you and Hank on at the same time. It's going to be so much fun, man.
That'd be great. We're looking forward to it. We'll make that happen.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, fellas.
Thanks, Jeff. Yep.